Good morning, creatures. Today I want to go over my Miller Trailblazer 302 airpak and show you what's on my truck, my service truck. So I'm just going to have a little sip of coffee and get busy here. Coffee's good. Okay, so what we've got here is my service truck, and I'm going to show you my arrangement. I've got well, let's do it this way. It's a little easier on me at some point. All right. On the truck, I carry sticker's gone. This is the Extreme Suitcase by Miller. It's been on my truck for, I'm going to say probably 6, 7, 8 years. Pretty much bulletproof and hooks up to the welder via, you got a wire output here in your work, which is your ground. And on this particular unit, we have a couple of settings. Wire is voltage sensing. You have your stick, you have your TIG, you have stick, and wire feed using remote. So what I am always in is the wire. Okay, and what I really love about this machine, I'll tell you, I'll show you a couple things. Fire it up, fuel level, whatnot. In this particular area is a selector. This unit has a high output air compressor built in. Now this is the first version that how do I want to say it? It came down to this version or the $20,000 or $25,000 version, the big blue pack, and this particular version was something that made it more user friendly for us guys at the service trucks, where they would put a separate air compressor on the truck, use up a lot of space, or you had a PTO driven air compressor, a hydraulic driven air compressor. This puts it down to us guys in the field that we can buy one unit that has everything. So if I need air, I just flip it over and it tells me 22 CFMs up to 31, which is an incredible amount of air. You can run big tools, you can run just a huge amount of stuff off of this. And what you can do is you adjust your air pressure here, and the gauge kind of gives you a baseline of what you should have and where you should be set at. And what you hear clicking right now is the fuel pump. The one thing I wish it was EFI, fuel injected in some respects. I have to always pull the choke, get her started, fire it up. It always works for me. I've never had a problem. It can be 20 degrees below zero out, and this puppy just runs and runs and runs. And of course, let it warm up a little bit before you start, chomping at the bit with something. And so, I guess the other nice feature of this Miller is when you do turn it on, and you look up there, we have 24 volt charge and jump, and also 12 volt charge and jump. So if you got a machine that you need a jump start, batteries are a little bit weak, I can take this particular cable right here, which of course you buy at a premium, plugs in. We've got the cables, the hot and the negative, and we plug that in up here, sorry about that, to this particular plug-in that fits that cable. You have to switch it manually over to jump charge, but nonetheless, you can get machines fired up, semi-trucks, whatever it is, all off this welder right in the field, wherever you're at. Especially in the forestry industry, a lot of the heavy equipment, the forestry equipment is run on 24 volts, so it's a handy setup. And another thing I'll show you, maintenance times. We have 415 hours left on oil change for the compressor. That's how many hours it has run. The hours on the engine, I have 178 total hours on this machine. Oil change due in 55 hours. So it's pretty user friendly and really a nice setup. But basically that's what I'm here to show you. How I love this machine. I've had Miller's all my life. Miller's only, the manufacturing plant is about 60 miles from me. And this is what I grew up with. The guys with the Reds, you can have the Reds. That's, everybody's got their own opinion. Lincoln, in other words. That's the way it goes, you know. Ford, Chevy, Miller, Lincoln, whatever. Whatever fits your fancy at the time. So right here we've got some duplex plugs for your 110, 120 grinders. I can run, actually I have done this. You've got a 220 plug. You can run quite a bit. I don't want to say it's, I don't want to say because I can't remember. It's 13,000 watts off of this thing. I've never been short of power, ever. Let me switch this up a little bit. Okay, so in the same package, another thing that I like about it is it's fuel efficient. I can run, I don't know how long I can run on it with the automatic and the idle speed. Let me put this back in here. And I know guys are going to get a little bit, yeah, you shouldn't do that, but if any of you guys out there know what this is, the old air arc, and if you've seen some of my videos in the past, I don't have the proper electricity in my shop. In other words, I don't have three-phase. And I know there's machines out there now. I do actually have one machine that I can run this off of in the shop, an inverter. But anyways, when I'm out on the field, if I need to hack something apart really big iron, I don't carry oxyacetylene anymore. I really don't see the need for it, but I carry the carbon arc. And with the amount of air that this puppy puts out, I can hook direct up to the stick TIG, put her on stick mode, and crank her wide open to 304, I think it goes up to, and a 1/4 inch stick, and I can carbon arc anything I want. And although some guys don't want you to use this for that, it is a generator. It doesn't have a real good output of electricity as far as the waves go and all that good stuff. They do that in the box by converting this. Yeah, you got to hook that on. Anyways, long story. It works super for air arcing, and you got the air compressor built in. I have no problems. I've done that in the field so many times. It's just awesome. So moving on to the rest of the setup, I'll give you a little detail of what I did underneath. I made a riser platform for it, so it sits in the bed of my truck. I mounted my gas bottle underneath the tank. It's hard to see, but I actually have it. I bent some pieces and bolted it in. So this puppy is never ever going to go anywhere. It's underneath here. When I'm in transit, I have the cap on, the safety cap. I just put this on to show you what I do on the truck. I have quick connects here. It's just like an air chuck for my welding gas, as well as back here on the suitcase itself. And like I said, this is a really slick setup. I also ran air underneath the unit through the bed of the truck. Popped a hole in my truck. Got a reel here, hose reel. Made a little door. All inside the compartment. I don't have a lot of crap up here on the deck because I don't like it up there. I'm in the woods a lot. Low branches. It's bad enough the truck gets all scuffed to hell, but is what it is. I keep the deck of the truck pretty clear and I pile the back end full. It is part of what I do and where I go in the woods, and sometimes you get in some pretty sticky situations. Moving on, I'm going to give you a little description of Mr. Suitcase here. I love these things. Keeps everything nice and tight and tidy. This is what I was talking about here with the ground. When you put your ground on the machine, and I don't consider it a downside to this particular unit, but when you ground your work, in order for this suitcase to operate, it gets this voltage, or it gets this voltage through the cable, but in order for it to run, this little guy has to be hooked to your work. And I can demonstrate that shortly. But I wanted to show you the inside of it. I run a Bernard gun, and this thing is so rugged. Your wire's all enclosed. I run a 777 Hobart wire. It used to be something else. I've stated that in other videos too. All position, flux core 045. It really, really does me well. It always has. And I've been welding for too long. And you can drop this, basically drop it off the truck, and it won't hurt it unless you break that off, or the fittings on the back. But what I'll do is I'll fire it up here. It's going to be a little bit noisy, and I'll show you. I have my welding gun. Trying to do this one-handed, by the way, is not so fun. I don't have anybody to tape me. So we'll give it the initial fire up. Pull the choke. Set in the wire mode right now. You can see I have low power. Powered up. So I'll walk away a little bit, give you a bit. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm in my shop, but now we're ready to go. So there's a basic understanding of what I have on my truck. It's not rocket science, it's simple. Some of you may think it's complicated as get out, but you know what? Everything I need is at arm's reach, right here. I mean, I'm standing tailgate, eye level, everything I want. I didn't want it up on top. I had it up there at one time. I was constantly climbing. I mounted the grab bars on the truck, yada, yada, yada. You know, the older I get, the less I want to do that. And so it's just a basic setup. You can't go wrong. If anybody's ever thinking about doing this, this is my machine. I mean, I think I've had it now about 3 years, and you see I got 178 hours on it. I don't do a ton, but when you're out in the woods, you're using it for a half hour, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Maybe you're just grinding or using an electric drill. I can run die grinders, air impacts, you name it, anything I want off of this machine. And I'm not plugging this for Miller by any means. This is not my way, and I don't, boy, I wish I could get free welders, but not really. It's just, I wanted to show off what I do and my particular setup for any of you guys that are doing this out there and you're thinking about it. I've had a few guys copy what I do, which is fine, you know, and it's really easy to access. Well, here, I'll climb up here and show you. I can edit things if I really need to. You can access things pretty well with this machine. Tabs, open. They really did a nice job on this particular unit, and they always do. Batteries right here. The older Bobcats, batteries hiding underneath if you ever got trouble. The air compressor is down there. It's electric clutch activated, dipstick oil. And what I really like is when I do maintenance on it, I can sit on my butt on my on the side of my truck. So bear with me with the camera moving. Same thing here. Flipper open, both sides open right up. I do have to convert this in the winter time because it's got a air dryer on it. And I have to put a direct coupling in there and bypass the air dryer in the winter time when it gets 20 below. That compressor puts out air at such a high volume, and the heat, the airline will freeze up through the dryer. So I have a tendency, and what it recommends in the book is to bypass it here. And that's what I do. I leave the fitting here, right in a bag. Matter of fact, I have to do that pretty soon. We're starting to get to those temperatures in my area. I also spent the extra $100 for the cover. I try to put it on at all times, but you know how we are. We're all inherently, we're not always on top of stuff like that. Yeah, I just wanted to show you around my truck and what I have as far as the welder goes. So that's basically it. Oh, and for you guys too, that when I'm out in the field, sometimes I can't get the truck right up to the machine that I'm working on. So what I do is I have approximately 50 feet of welding cable. And I'm not all fancy like the rig welders out in the field. I don't have the rolls up on the side, and I'm just a normal average, guy. So I got everything tidied up in here. And if I need to take that suitcase, this guy right here, and walk for 50 feet, I've got enough lead to carry it, and she's quite heavy with a brand new roll of wire on it. I think I use 33-pound rolls, and I can take it right to the machine, throw it up on something, carry it. Hell, I've even had the guy use the forwarder and put a strap through the handle to lift it up and set it up on top of stuff. So that being said, if you're ever going to buy cable, of course you can use the same cable for stick welding. You can always stick weld too. If you're not and the conditions aren't right, you can always stick weld if you know how. So what I did was I bought me a coil or a length, I think it's about 50 feet also, of gas hose. And there too, this is all laying out right now. I usually got it in the box, but I use the whole length all the time. It uses a little bit more gas, but if I need to just jump off the back of the truck and drag my welder, the suitcase, I'm ready to go. Unclip that, straighten it out, go, get the job done. You don't want to be dilly-dallying too much out in the woods, and I never am. I'm always going too fast. Ironic, I know, for the people that know me. So that's one thing you shouldn't forget if you ever go out and buy this setup. Make sure you got enough gas hose to reach the bottle to the suitcase. First time you get out and you got to move and you go, oh crumb, how am I going to get there? And the truck, whether it's muddy or whatever, you just can't access it. You'll be glad you spent the 20 or 30 bucks for that hose. And so that's it. The only other thing I can say is I got a few tips. When you're mobile welding, buy the fiberglass blankets, the coated ones. Last thing you want to do is grind and weld around glass, plastic, chrome. We work around a lot of hydraulic shafts, hydraulic cylinders. And let me put this here for a second. So at any rate, when you're working out in the woods and you're working around machinery that's greasy and oily, well, I'm not very good at this. Bear with me. Okay, you've got, in the side compartment I carry a ABC fire extinguisher, at least one, always. A lot of times I have a piss can, which is just a water fire extinguisher, because you're in woods debris, leaves, branches, anything you want to start a fire with, if you're going to make a campfire, is usually laying in the belly of one of these forestry machines that we work on. So you got to be very conscious of that. always the most important thing is that machine and the safety of it. And the fire blankets, like I was talking about, they're relatively inexpensive. Bungee cords, rope, whatever it takes. Protect the area you're working on. You've seen it in some of my other videos. And believe it or not, I don't have one with me, but all right, I'll show you with this. This is a portable fire extinguisher. It's a little trick. And I'm gonna ruin a bottle here, cap, but when you get to the job, most of us, I don't know why we drink out of bottles for water. We got tap water. I don't get it. Millions and millions of, whatever, another story. But most of us have these in our trucks. So what I do, it's really a simple thing, is take I just carry a damn little box cutter in my pocket. I'm not a big, I used to be a big knife guy, but poke a hole in that cap. Guess what? I have a little mini fire extinguisher. And when you leave it lay, it doesn't really leak out, so it's going to be next to you all the time. Plus, if you need a drink, you can take a drink. But if you're welding in an area and you're up on a ladder and whatever, and you got this in your back pocket, and you get a little leaves burning, or hey, look at, got myself in there. Works really well. Just poke a hole in the top with a knife. You wouldn't believe what that little bit of water can save your behind. That's the tip of the year, I guess. I guess that's about it. That is what my setup is. And I don't have a $400,000 truck. I'll give you a little bit of the tour of that yet too, just because. I've got a basic truck. I built this all myself. I think that box cost me $500 at an auction. I painted it myself, dressed it up, and it's from the 80s. It's serving the purpose very well. And this old truck that I have is a 1999 and a half Ford F-350 with the 7.3 diesel, and I've got 364,000 miles on it. Today's cost of new vehicles, and I'm not a corporate guy, I don't have a bunch of funding in the background. I don't have an expense account that I can go buy a new truck with. So it gets me through. I mean, we rebuilt the front end, I do all the maintenance on it. The engine's in good shape. It's the old 7.3 International that Ford used back then. Every day that I want her to work, she works. Every day that I need to go somewhere, she's old reliable. So I don't, other than a little bit of rust coming, she treats me well. So that's my story. Even the boxes are nothing special. You know, I won't get into them, they're kind of messy inside. But, this thing you may be wondering too is, it's an old, what I want to say, it's actually it's a hitch off of a car. A lot of guys got their vise mounted back here, and I bought a vise. It's right here. It's called an all-terrain vise or something by Wilton, and it fits in your receiver hitch on your car or truck or whatever you've got. So what I did was I mounted it here. It's too low. This is this is a receiver hitch off of a car or a truck. I cut it, welded this on. So now when I put the vise in, well, maybe I should just show you because we're doing the whole thing. I'll pull the pin out in here. I grab it, put her in. I got my vise. I'll give you a little bit better angle of it. See the level of me? I'm going to work on stuff I want it right here, especially hydraulic valves and cylinders and stuff like that. And the nice way I did this versus the one that's always on the back of the truck, when I'm done, I put it back in the truck, and up here in the northern states with the salt and everything else, that's going to last me a good long time. I don't have to worry about it. I put it back in the compartment. It's clean. Done deal. So this stuff can rust. I don't really care about that out here. It's just a piece of iron. But when you want this thing to work, we don't want it all rusty and crunchy. So, okay, that's about it. The only other thing I can show you, I guess, on the truck is, I put a few drawers in here. And I put a little light switch back here. So I'm out in the evenings, and now that winter's coming, ooh, that's bright. I've got a lit up work area behind the truck. Simple. I mean, simple. There's some of the little things that I like to do. But nowadays I don't like to work after dark. So, okay, well, that's my truck tour, or my welder. So, and I've had, like I said earlier, this is the third Miller engine drive I've owned. The previous two were Bobcats, and I decided to go with this 302 airpak, and I just, like I said, I can't say enough. I'm not sponsored in any way. It's what I do. So I hope you enjoy the video and the tutorial, if you call it that, and what my setup is. So, okay, over and out. One other thing that I forgot to mention in regards to this video. I got a nice little step I made here. Helps me, older I get. May sound silly, but it just goes into the receiver of the truck, and it's a piece of steel I overwrapped with aluminum diamond plate, and then I put that the decking on there, so I got to step up into my truck, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a nice deal. Helps me out so I don't slip and fall. Now I'm starting to wear glasses too, so it's fun. Okay. Hey guys, if you like my videos, this is the dreaded part that I've never wanted to do, but I've been doing a lot of videos. I think I'm up to 50 some now. And if you have any inkling of liking them, you like what I'm doing, you want to see different things, put something in the comments below the videos, and go to my my YouTube channel page and hit the subscribe button, like and share. Things are starting to gain a little bit of momentum on this channel, and I'd like to keep it going that way. And the more people I can, let's just say, help, provide information, whatever they like to see this kind of thing, hit the subscribe and share. And even when you hit the subscribe button, there's also a little bell next to it, I think. Hit that so you get notifications every time I put out a video. I know a lot of you are my local friends, and a lot of you are local customers, whatnot, but it's starting to spread around, and I'd really appreciate it if you did that. Tell your friends and hit the, like I said, hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, so then every time I put out a video, you'll get notified and you can watch. It all helps. I don't get anything for doing this other than the satisfaction of maybe teaching somebody something or showing you guys inside of my life and what I do for a living. And it's not that bad. Sometimes it sucks, but it's not that bad. So if you want to see more content of different stuff, let me know that also. Just put comments in the underneath the videos, and I try to look at it every day, and we'll go from there. So again, appreciate you guys watching anything I put out, because sometimes it's goofy, sometimes it's not. All right, I'll get on my way and have fun, enjoy, go to work. All right, thanks.